Hello, this is a video about generics and interfaces in Go compared side by side. So basically here we're gonna do an implementation with interfaces, and here we're gonna do one with generics and see the differences and the benefits and the pros and cons basically of each of those. Of course, interfaces in Go are like a big topic. Uh, there could be made many videos about this. There are books about interfaces in Go, and because it's a very important feature of the language that enables us to do dynamic dispatch, which is basically calling methods from the same method in different types. Uh, we're gonna just do a simple, basically, way to do it. Basically, I wanna go to the simplest way to do it. Maybe not the most simple one, but a real use case, a real example of generics, and let's go over it. So let's say we have a simple booking system in which you can book cruises or hotels. So basically, uh, you can go to the hotel and book a hotel. You can go directly to the cruise and book a cruise. Okay, that's important because um, then we're gonna see if that is the best way to do it or not. That you have to go to the to the real cruise because maybe the cruise is in the water, for example. So that's something we need to consider while we work on this. Okay. So first, let's define. Of course, this will be very simple. Okay. So let's define two types. One, hotel, because if you think about it, like you can go to a hotel and book a hotel. That's what most people do. Generally, they go to the hotel, they call by phone, uh, go to the website of the hotel, this type of things. So type hotel struct. So basically, we want to do something very simple. Okay, with name string, just the minimal implementation of these things, just to see how we can understand this in a simplest way, and of course compare it in the simplest way. And this will enable us to think about more complex things once we have the most simple implementation. Same thing. So hotel and cruise uh, have name property. Okay. So one thing we want to do, the most simple thing we want to do here is checking if we can book a hotel or book a cruise. So what we said before, basically. We want to be able to know if we can book the hotel or not, or the cruise. So basically, we need a list of hotels and a list of cruises, and we can see if the hotel is in the list of booked hotels or the cruise is in the list of booked cruise. Okay, so let's give it a name as reservations because it can be in the future. Okay, so booked is not a bad name, but I think reservations is better. So we're gonna create two more types, which will have list or in this case slices of hotel and cruises. Okay, now we have two types, which are slices of hotels and cruises. Okay, now we're gonna start designing our interface, which will encapsulate shared functionality between these two types, these two. Okay, because we want to know if we have a list of reservations, if a hotel is present in this list. Okay, so think about that as a database or a list of hotels that you have already booked. Okay, of course, this is the simplest thing we can do. It's not a full-blown booking.com, but you can get an idea with this of building your own booking.com. Basically, that's the point. So we need to define an interface that will encapsulate shared functionality for these two types first. Okay, as we said. So type bookkeeper interface. We want to call this bookkeeper because it keeps the bookings. So we can also call it reservation keeper. Um, Anything else. But let's call it bookkeeper. The bookkeeper interface will encapsulate shared functionality between these two types, okay? Which are slices of hotels and cruises, because they can be booked. Because you can book a hotel or a cruise, okay? So the interface will define the methods, all right, that we are gonna uh, implement for these two types. We are gonna have a single method, which is, as we said, we want to know if it is already booked or reserved, is booked. And we're gonna put a string parameter for the name, okay? And the reason for that you will see later. Returns a ball, okay? If it is booked, it will return a ball. Interfaces in Go are automatically implemented if the type implements the methods, okay? Which means that func, um, we're gonna implement is booked in the types we want this interface to be implemented, and the types are these two, as you can see here, okay? Because this is what we want to do, okay? So let's say the type, the receiver, okay? So first you have to put the receiver. Let's do first hotel reservations, okay? Hotels. Okay, yeah, well, let's just call it hotels. Well, actually, well, hotel, uh, well, hotel bookings, okay? We can call it this way to have a different one, but you get the idea. Basically, the idea is that it's the same thing. So, hotel reservations, okay? Or we can just give it a shorter name, and it will be clear because it's a very simple method. For bigger methods, you may want to have more descriptive name, but in our case, it's very simple. It's just hotel reservations. The name of the method, okay, is defined in the interface. We just copy paste it if we want. Name string ball. So the same thing basically. We just did the same thing. And this has to return a boolean. Okay. This will be just a simple loop. Okay. So for we don't care about the index. Hotel okay. This will just look through the hotel reservations we have and will check if the name of the hotel we want to know if it is booked is in this list or not. This is exactly the same, okay, for cruise reservations, and that's the point because we want to fulfill the interface. So gonna call this one CS for cruises. There it is. Okay. Now we can create list of hotels or cruises and check if a particular hotel or cruise is booked. Okay, the interface way with this thing. But for now, there is no really a lot of interesting things going on here. It's just methods. Basically, we did define the method, so the interface is not being used yet, although it is fulfilled by these two types. We share the is booked functionality. So what we want to do is to create a new function to see how we can use this, which will accept a bookkeeper parameter. The receiver is going to be a hotel or a cruise. And you will see there is the issue that you cannot go in the water, but let's first do it this way, okay? And then improve it. The receiver for the make booking function we are going to make is a hotel for now, okay? So that's why I put this, the receiver, okay, a hotel. Make booking, be bookkeeper, ball. We want to make a ball because we want to know if it was successful or not. It's very simple code. Like we said, this is just a base to understand this, not a real application. We are just going to return this. Okay, so same thing for the cruise. And now we have the possibility to book hotels and book cruises, okay, with this make booking methods for each of those. So let's first try this out. Let's create a hotel, a cruise, and a list of reservations for the hotels, for the cruises, and bookkeepers. I want to emphasize the use of interfaces here, okay, on the left side. So I will create interface type. Barkeeper, bookkeeper. This will initialize keeper to a nil interface. Okay, is pointing to a nil pointer, or basically it doesn't have a pointer to anything. So what we're gonna do is to create first a hotel. Well, let's just do it like this. Name Paradise Hotel. Nice name for a hotel. And now let's assign, well, let's create a cruise. Titanic 2, let's say. Okay. Now let's go into these two. Okay. We already have hotels. Well, one hotel. And let's go into the reservations list. We said that we initialize a bookkeeper. So we're going to fulfill this interface. Keeper is equal to hotel reservations, and here we can pass a hotel list slice, say, okay. Um, yeah. So basically, we don't need to specify the, well, let's call it Love Hotel. Okay, that's cute. And now we can, for example, try some of the methods we did. Okay, so let's say h dot make booking. Okay, and we pass the keeper. Okay, so that's well, let's just create, well, uh, yeah, now let's try this out. Okay, so so can we book h.name, h.makeBookingKeeper? Okay, though this is just so you can see the functionality. Now let's do the same for the cruise. And let's see what happens. This cruise is not present in the hotel reservations. Okay, but I wanted to show you that this interface can be assigned to any list of these two. Okay, the other thing to do here is cruise reservations, name Titanic 2. Okay, or let's add another one, Titanic 1. Okay, so what's going to happen? First, we initialize, well, actually, we didn't initialize. We declare interface of type bookkeeper, which I don't want to go deep into interfaces, but basically we need to assign if we keep going with this interface, let's say, oops, if we keep going with this interface keeper, um, we need to assign something that fulfills the interface. Okay, so I cannot assign anything I want to keeper afterwards, after this. As you can see, I can assign hotel reservations or cruise reservations because both have the method isBooked. Okay, we create a hotel and a cruise. Then we assign to keeper, okay, this list that fulfills the interface, and we pass a name, okay, like this. You can also do like this. You see, no problem, but I'm not gonna do it. Then we check if we can book this hotel, make booking. Sorry, my mic turned off. And then this one. We have a different list, okay? So Love Hotel, and this one Titanic, and name Titanic 1 and Titanic 2. So this one should return that it's not possible to book it because it's already reserved, cruise reservations. This one should return that yes, it's possible because Love Hotel is not present, Paradise is not present in the Love Hotel, which is already reserved. Okay, let's see if it works. Sorry, there is a problem here. Is like this. We can only book it if it is not booked already. Can we book Paradise? True, because Paradise is the hotel that we went to the Paradise the office. We wanted to book, and they let us because the only booked one is the Love Hotel. Okay, so they have a hotel available, basically. For the cruise reservation, we have reservation for Titanic 2 and Titanic 1, and we want to book the Titanic 2. You see? See. And it tells us we can't. Okay? That's basically the problem now. Well, you see the interface is already implemented, everything works. What is the problem now? You cannot go to the sea because the cruise you need to go to the cruise. Okay, that's one problem. And another problem is that we want to make this more, let's say, um, that to encapsulate the functionality of make a booking. We want to make a booking a single method, basically shared functionality. Okay, we use the interface and we are going to try to do this in a single method. Okay, so what one thing we can do is to encapsulate functionality like we said before, okay, by adding a new type. And we also don't need to go into the sea to book a cruise. Type office struct. So what we're gonna do is to create an office which you can go to book hotels or cruises. Okay, the office will have a bookkeeper, and let's add something, which is the booker interface. Well, we don't need to do it yet, but the office has a bookkeeper, okay, and let's write the make booking method for the office, okay, receiver. So in this case, the make booking method will also receive a string, which is the name of the thing we want to book. That's it. Now we have basically encapsulated the functionality of making a booking by adding another type that has the interface embedded on it. Okay? So we only have one make booking method. How does it work? Let's update here the driver code we have by creating an office type. Okay, this one. I'm doing this implicitly so you can see what we are doing here. But there is no need to do it this way. You can do it in a single line. You can remove this just paste this here and it will already understand. Okay, but I don't want to do that because I want to show how interfaces work at the same time a bit. We assign a bookkeeper that we created before. In this at this moment is null. If we want to do anything here with this bookkeeper here, it will be uh, an error. It will throw panic, nil pointer the reference. Let's leave this line for clarity and just part of the tutorial. As you can see, I'm assigning a keeper that has not been initialized, or there is no value data. Here, we initialize the interface to a concrete implementation, which is hotel reservations with a single hotel. Of course, you can pass an empty list if you want. Okay. Now we need to update our function or calls here to use the office because we don't want to go in the sea or directly to the hotel or whatever. So we go to the office and we ask to book a hotel. We want to book h.name. Okay, but we can also call dice if we want. Okay, can we book h.name? And we already have this. Okay, so h.name. Now we change the keeper to cruises. Okay, cruise reservation instead of hotel reservations. And just copy paste this for conveniency. C.name. Let's put this everything in one line. Now looks better. So let's see if it works. Can we book Paradise? True. Can we book Titanic? False. You can see everything works, but now we can go to the office, which is pretty cool. Okay. Basically, that is the code we need to write to do it with interfaces. There's other ways to do it, of course, because interfaces in Go are very flexible, and you also have basically you can write a switch statement, but we don't want to do that. Just want to try to do this in the simplest possible way, and basically see try to do it in the simplest way and also the most adequate way to do it. Now let's continue with generics. Okay, so in generics, let's put the generics call here. This is another file in the same folder. With generics, let's see if it prints generics. Undefined what? Oh, because I'm running the generics. Well, actually, check on the generics. Yeah, well, if I run generics, it's not gonna work. So, go build. There it is. So, for generics, we already have the types defined here. Okay, I'm not gonna write these types again because we already have them in there and it's gonna create a conflict. Well, let's just leave this here momentarily. We only need one method. Okay, let's call it isBooked with the lowercase I, so we don't create another conflict. But yeah, I think it's better this way. Slightly different name. And in this case, we are going to use generics. Because generics allow us to do something in a generic way, we can pass a type that is generic. We only want to compare things. Equal, equal. You see? Equal, equal. We want to compare this with this. Okay? So we compare, we pass a type that is comparable. Okay? In generics, you first define the types here. There is a lot of things you can do here. You can pass any um, one thing or another. In this case, we're going to use comparable. Okay. I added another video in which you can see how to pass, for example, ints or floats here. Okay. There is one thing missing, which is a generic comparable type of list of things, which we are going to pass here. Okay. I forgot about that. It goes first. So in this case, we need bookings. We're gonna call it bookings because it will be bookings of cruises or hotels. All right. So it can be bookings of any of these two, which is better because as you can see, I had to write one method for each. So in this case, the bookings will be of hotels or cruises independently. All right. So this will be also of type T, comparable, struct, and let's put reservations for consistency. We have reservations here. So reservations is an array, a slice of T. Okay, now we can use this. Okay, B bookings, and it returns a ball. There is another thing missing here. Okay, which is the type of booking. We want something generic, but you can pass hotel if you want. You just need to pass a concrete type. Well, in this case, a type. Okay. We put hotel, but this will only work for hotels. It will be the same as this. So we want to use the generic type we specified in the function here. And another thing is missing. The concrete thing we want to book, which also we're gonna pass type T. Okay. For example, what do we call this? Entity T. Hotel could be as well, but let's do it this way. Okay. This code is the same as this one. We can just paste it, and we're gonna loop in the bookings, but we don't want to call it hotels. We want to call it, yeah, this is a type that encapsulates reservations of type of a generic type. Okay, so I had to call the field of the parameter. That's why you pass a concrete type. We don't want to call it hotels. We're gonna call it reservations. Okay, so reservation. And we cannot do this because in generics in Go at the moment you cannot access the properties. Okay, it doesn't know basically what fields there is in this thingy. So we just do this. Okay, and now it's already perfectly fine to use this method. Okay, which is pretty cool, I think. And now let's write our make booking function, generic function. Okay, so this, as you can see, is the same parameters. Okay, so the same as before. Same as before. And now let's write the code we're gonna use for testing this. That, as you can see, is less than this on the left. Let's create a, well, we can just copy these ones. Now we need to make bookings instead of bookkeepers. So let's make a list of bookings. Let's call it BKS. And now we can already start playing with this. So we can do this. Okay, and let's do the same thing with the cruises. Well, hotel bookings, and then we're gonna create another one for cruises. Cruise. Can pass the C here. You see? It's already tell us that we need to pass a cruise. Let's try this. Put this at the top so we can see when the generics start. False, false. Because they are already booked. Okay, we cannot book Hotel Paradise. It's already booked. And we cannot book Titanic 2 because I already passed it here. Okay, let's remove this. Should be true. False, true. So there you have it. This on the right this on the left. Two different ways to do the same thing, one with interfaces, one with generics. There is less code on the right. There is no Office, of course, but it's more generic, as you can see. And it's pretty cool that we can pass anything we want there, hotels or cruises, to the bookings types, to the type of bookings, and then we can check if it's booked and make a booking. A real world example, of course, extremely simplified, and of course, it's not the only thing about generics. I will probably make more videos about generics because I'm really interested in the subject, and I think it's a really interesting subject because generics was just released in the official Go version, the new version. And yeah, that's it for today, and let me know what you think. Thank you for watching.